Hello students, this is the third video which I am uploading related to the chapter the Union Parliament. In previous two videos we have discussed about the organs of the government, about the union formation or composition of Union Parliament, about both the houses Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha, its tenure, qualification and disqualification. Apart from that, we have studied about the presiding officers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and their powers. Now today we are going to study about the powers and functions of the parliament. There are various powers and functions of the parliament named as legislative power, financial power, judicial power, electoral power, amendment power, control over the executive and other powers. Now, before we start with the powers and functions of the parliament, I would like to discuss about the list which we have in our country. Which list? There are the three types of list in our country, that is the union list, state list and concurrent list. Union list in which there are 97 subjects, in state list there are 66 subjects and in concurrent list 47 subjects. Now you must be wondering which kind of subjects are these. Here subject means on the topics on which or on the matters on which the government can make the laws. Like in union list, as we know there are 97 subjects, so on these 97 topics only union government will make the law. Similarly, in state list, on these 66 subjects only state government will make the laws. And in concurrent list, as we can see, in concurrent list there are the 47 subjects. In these concurrent list, union government as well as the state government both will make the laws. Okay, so concurrent list is that list in which union government as well as the state government has the authority to make the laws in a combined way. Now we will discuss list in detail. Union list. In union list, as I have told, the parliament has the exclusive powers to make law. Subjects we have discussed, and examples of subjects are like defense, communication and foreign policy, etc. Concurrent list, as I have discussed, that union parliament, union government as well as the state legislative assemblies can make the laws all together on 47 subjects. And in case of any conflict, if there is a conflict between decision taken by union government and decision taken by the state government, in such a case the union government or the decision of the union government will prevail. It will only be finalized. Now state list. I told you that in the state list only state government can make the law. That is true. But there are certain other conditions under which, or I can say under special conditions, where the union government can make the laws on the state list. Generally only state government make the laws, but on these special provisions or occasions only union government can make the laws on the state list subjects. And those conditions are during the proclamation of an emergency. If emergency is there in the country, in such a case union government can make the laws on the state list. Then if the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by 2/3 majority, if 2/3 members of the house agree and they pass a resolution in the Rajya Sabha that the subject which is mentioned in the state list has assumed national importance. Here national importance means the any topic which is going to affect whole of the nation, not to a particular state but to whole of the nation. In such a case union government can make the law on the state list. Now third condition, when two or more states are of the opinion that the parliament should legislate on a subject given in the state list. If two or more than two states have their opinion that the union government should make law on the state subject, in such a case, union government can make the laws on the state list. Now, we are going to come on the legislative part. So, the exclusive or the important legislative powers which the Union Parliament has or our Indian Parliament have, that is on the matters in the Union list. As we know, there are 97 subjects in which exclusively means only the Union Parliament can or the Union government can make the law. Okay, then matters in the concurrent list. As we know, union government along with the state government make the laws on the concurrent list. Then in case of the state list, as I have discussed just now, under the special provision, union parliament has the special authority to make the laws in the state list. Now, residuary powers. Residuary powers are the important powers which is being given to the union parliament. Now, if any of the subject which is left out by union list, concurrent list and state list, under such subjects, if the law is to be made, that will be made by the union parliament, and the special authority will be known as the residuary powers. I repeat, only the parliament can make the laws on the subjects which are not listed in either of the three lists, and that special power is known as the residuary power, which is very important, which is frequently asked in boards. Same like ordinances. Ordinance is also very important. Now, what are these ordinances? Ordinances are again authority which is being given to the president. In residuary powers, the authority is being given to the parliament, but in ordinances, the special authority is being given to the president of India. Now, if we see ordinances, what are these ordinances? We can understand this way, that ordinances are the temporary law which is passed by the president in case of an emergency. If in the nation, if in the country, any emergency is there and we urgently need any law to be implicated, in such case, the ordinance will be passed by the president, but there is a condition with it, that as soon as emergency is lifted or emergency is not there, in such situation, within the 6 weeks, it has to be passed by the law has to be passed by the union parliament. Otherwise, the law which was issued by the president will stay cancelled or null and void. Cancel is only known as the null and void. Now, after ordinances, we are going to discuss about the judicial power. Judicial means the powers which are related to our Indian judiciary. So, here the first part which Union Parliament has, that is the impeachment of the president. Impeachment of the president means removal of the president. Same like as the other point is there, like removal of the judges. Now, this is the special power which is given to the Union Parliament, because appointment is very easy in the Union Parliament with the consultation of various executives. Judiciary president as well as the judges can be appointed, but to remove them from the post, it has a complex method, or we can say a complex process, which is known as the impeachment. So, removal of the judges as well as removal of the president is done by the impeachment procedure. Now, the third judicial related power which Union Parliament has, that is the punishment. In case if any of the member is obstructing the work which is taking place in the parliament, or showing disrespect to the house by any way, in such a case the Speaker of the House or the Chairman of the House, being the presiding officer, can give the punishment to that particular member, either may be suspended from the house. Okay, so that is possible, or these are the judicial powers of the Union Parliament. Now, electoral functions. As the name suggests, electoral is derived from the word election, or we can say election related functions, which is performed by the Union Parliament. Now, in electoral function, first we will see the election of the President of India. So, as we know, the President of India is elected by the Electoral College. Now, what is Electoral College? In Electoral College, we have the elected members of Lok Sabha, elected members of Rajya Sabha, and elected members of Legislative Assembly, plus 2 members of Union Territory, that from the two union territories, that is Delhi and Puducherry. So if all these members come together, that is known as the electoral college, and when they consist together, then they elect the President of India. Then next is Vice President of India. Same procedure which is followed for the President of India, that is followed for the Vice President of India as well. So now next is Speaker. Now here one thing is remarkable, children, that in Lok Sabha only the Speaker can be elected, because presiding officer of the Lok Sabha is Speaker. Speaker is not applicable, or he does not work for the Rajya Sabha. So therefore the election of the Speaker takes place only in Lok Sabha. Just like this, Deputy Speaker. So just like Speaker, we have the Deputy Speaker, which is also elected in Lok Sabha. So Vice President of India and President of India is elected by the Union Parliament, which means by both the houses, and Speaker and Deputy Speaker are elected only in Lok Sabha. After that, chairman is always the Vice President of India. Chairman of Rajya Sabha is always the Vice President of India. So if we have elected Vice President of India, that means automatically we have elected the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Apart from that, we have the Deputy Chairman, who works in absence of the Chairman or in absence of the Vice President of India. He takes care of the Rajya Sabha. So he is also elected by the Union Parliament. So children, in next video, now we'll be studying rest of the powers we'll be studying in next video, that is financial powers, amendment, control over the executive, and the other powers.